Well, it is the second day of the Atlantic hurricane season. Experts say there's a higher than average chance of a hurricane hitting Florida this year. And Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Noah Bergen is back with us now.
So Noah, that's just a reminder. It's never too early to get prepared because it's not if, but when.
Yeah, you know, we're in this 20, 30-year period where it's historically been every year seemingly something's hitting Florida, which, you know, if you zoom out 100 years, you know, we didn't used to get hit this often. So it's a good reminder. You know, it's quiet now, all grand scheme of things. Here's the major hurricanes to hit the Gulf and the west coast of Florida since 2017. Harvey, Laura, Zeta Ida, Michael, Idalia, Helene, Milton, Ian, and Irma. And this graphic, let it serve as a good visual reminder for you that way too often, and we're even guilty of this ourselves in the meteorological community, and often viewers in the public and all of y'all at home, all of us in the Weather Enterprise, we always get too locked into where the center is. And all of these storms are all great examples in the worst of way of why to not focus on the center. Milton, prime example, the rain on the north. Ian was a big flood maker here. I mean, Charlie is also an example because that was Orlando's biggest wind event from a hurricane. It was wind destruction everywhere because the eye went over here so fast. All of these are a different story of the size and the scope and the speed. But the point is, we've been in this blitz the last several years of a lot of major hurricanes hitting Florida in the Gulf Coast. So right now, the deep tropics are actually cooler than average compared to this time last year. The Western Atlantic, Gulf, and Caribbean are warmer than average. In fact, the water off the coast of Tampa Bay is about 4 degrees above average. Now, that will come down some as the rainy season gets started. That's what's normal. The fresh water falls from the sky, and there's always a natural little cooling effect early summer. So we'll see how that changes in the next few weeks. But the point is, the Gulf is open for business, and especially the Caribbean. Something we look at is called OHC, ocean heat content. A little bit more meteorologically accurate than just sticking a thermometer in the water and saying the temperature is X. Here's what I mean. It takes into account how deep the water is, if it's really warm just near the top or down deep into the ocean surface. And in the Caribbean now, it's about 2 months ahead of schedule. We're not expecting a hurricane there anytime soon, but the water there now is plenty supportive for a hurricane already. Reminder, Andrea, Barry, the first 2 names up for this year. These clouds down here from big storms today down in the Miami area, a very active day in South Florida. That boundary that caused that will lift north, and there's a small chance off the southeast coast we get a brief tropical depression later this week. That does fit into historically where we look for tropical development in the month of June, which is in close to home. The deep tropics are still too dusty and too hostile. Speaking of dust, look at this, my friends. Watch this. This is going to be the biggest plume of dust we have had in several years into central Florida. Look at the bright colors there. That's the top end of our chart on the color table for Saharan dust. So on Thursday specifically this week, on Thursday, you will certainly notice it's going to be very hazy, very muted view to the sky. It's going to be kind of an odd kind of gray up there with a very dense plume of Saharan dust that will be over central Florida the entire day Thursday, which will cause a very vibrant sunrise and a very vibrant sunset. So that's something for Thursday specifically this week. It'll also help lower the rain chances on Thursday. A lot of storms tomorrow and Wednesday, but neither of those days are washouts. I'll show you that in the Fox model coming up. It'll get hotter this weekend, temperatures back into the mid-90s once we get to Saturday and Sunday.